Hey everybody, it's me Stacy here at Scrapbooking Made Simple with our very next YouTube mini class. This is mini class 109 and I have got embossing folders and I have got create a card dies. I have got some wonderful products to show you. I've got our SRM Press exclusive Contain It kit for November that I want to show you. So much, oh my gosh, if you looked around, I've got stuff over here and over here and over here and over here so I can like easily grab it. Now, thank you for all of your UBU comments. That just made my heart warm and I'm glad that you agree. I just have to be me. I've been doing it for 46 years, so I'm just gonna continue on. And for those of you who sent me emails, Stacy, what's rattlers? In my last YouTube, I talked about my mom and how she loves Rattlers and it just seems to make everything better. I failed to mention that Rattlers is a restaurant here in Santa Clarita and it's been here for a very long time and it's a barbecue joint and they do tri-tip and they do chicken and I mean, it's just yummy. So for those of you who are like, what is that? It's a restaurant that my mom really, really likes. I don't know why. I never knew her to be a barbecue gal, but since the dementia's come on, she likes Rattlers, and you know what? It's 2 minutes down the road from us, and I can do that. Now, I have got winter chicken dinner for you, and last YouTube we did some of the pit markers with the open stamps from Stampendous, and then I showed you stuff from the anniversary sale. So I want to announce a couple winners. Are you listening? If you are, oh, well, I like this first one already because you and I have lots in common. Gosh, this was like the last one that I had, that I love their YouTube username, but this one you and I have common. We are mom of two great boys, only you're mom of two great boys, 6494. Congratulations, mom of two great boys, 6494. I'm mom of two great boys, Stacy. You have won. Congratulations. We're going to be sending you out some pit markers and some Stampendous open stamps so you can doodle away. We also have another winner. If it wasn't you last time, it could be you this time. If your name is Diane, is your name Diane? Or is everybody, all these Dianes are going, yeah! But you have to have the last name Wiswall. Gosh, I hope I pronounced that right. Diane Wiswall, if this is you, you have won too. Congratulations. Now, how are you gals gonna claim your prizes? You're gonna email us at asksms@earthlink.net. That email address may be changing in the future as we move our website and update our website and get a whole new site. But for now, asksms@earthlink.net. You're gonna say, I'm a winner from YouTube 109. Really important you reference YouTube 109 because that's how the form is filled out and it makes it a lot easier for the girls. Thank you. Now, like I said, I've got lots to do. Do you want to be a winner? If you do, all you gotta do is watch the YouTube, wait till the end, go post a comment that you love the YouTube, that you thought the products were great, that it's still summer where you are. We're in California. It's gonna be like 90 degrees. Did anybody ever tell Mother Nature, it's November? It's time. It's almost November. It's time to cool down a little bit, you know, but then again, you could be in 6 feet of snow and I am ever so sorry for you. It always seems the grass is greener on the other side, right? So post your comment and maybe next week you two will be winner chicken dinner. I have a light above me that's going out, so if you see flickering, that's our Halloween special effects for this YouTube. So if you see a little flickering, I did that on purpose. It's Halloween special effects. Mr. SMS is gonna have to get up there and change that light. All right, so we've announced winners. I explained what Rattlers is, and I think we're gonna tilt on down so I can show you what SRM Press has in store for you. And this month we're going to put it in the YouTube Yummies category because then it will ship within a much quicker time frame. Gosh, we're just now starting to process not this last YouTube because that will wait about a week and a half, but the YouTube before. That's the one we're processing with the flip cards and all of the artful card kits by hot off the press. So that's what's going out now. Those orders are going to be processed and you'll be seeing them ship within the next few days. So down I go, everybody. Bye. How'd you like that? My special effects for Halloween. I thought that was off the cuff too. Okay, so what do we have for you? I just want to give you a quick overview of the SRM Contain It Kit exclusive to Scrapbooking Made Simple. This is a cute little acrylic box with 2015 on it. And what it is it's a mini calendar set. You open it up and you pull it out, and whoever you gift it to would pull the very first one. And here you have January. On the back side, you have February, and they're cute little tent cards so that somebody can put it right on their desk or by their computer or in their kitchen on their microwave, just to give them a quick reference of the day and the month, you know? And when you're done with January, February, you can put that right back in, and then you'd pull out the next one, March and April. And what's really cool about this kit is that everything you need, and I do mean everything, right down to the paper, is included. And you get enough to make 4. Isn't that darling? There's March, there's April. They give you tons and tons and tons of stickers. There's July, all themed out for 4th of July. There's August. You can put little circles on the dates that are important to you, and truly all they are is stickers. Here's how the kit comes. Gives you directions, the twine, all the stickers that you're going to need, gives you the clear boxes, the paper, all in one all-inclusive kit, and you will be able to make 4 of these little gems. They're super cute, and what a fun and easy gift to give to coworkers or acquaintances or office folks who you need to give a little something to. For senior citizens, they're a great little gift. So it all comes as an inclusive kit, everything you need. Plus, I mean, truly, you would have more stickers to make extras, like all the little zigzaggy border stickers. You're gonna have enough left over to do other things with. But it's all in there, and that is our November Contain It Kit from SRM Press, and it is exclusive to Scrapbooking Made Simple. All right, with that done, I'm gonna move that off to the side, and we are going to talk about embossing folders. We have new embossing folders. They are from I always wanna say Connection, Crafter's Companion, and we have their vintage line. Really pretty. They're a holiday. They have some with roses on it. They're absolutely beautiful. They're 6x6 size, and yes, they will go through your Big Shot machine absolutely without a problem. This one is the Merry Christmas. Can you see? Look at how beautiful that is. I want to show you how easy these are to use very quickly, because I know a lot of you are familiar with embossing folders already, but for those of you who are not, I want you to see how magical these are, because it truly is absolutely gorgeous. And because they're a 6x6 size, we have for you 6x6 cards and bases. You get 5 card bases, 5 card bases and 5 envelopes for $3.99, so that if you do get 6x6 embossing folders or 6x6 dies that I'm going to show you in a little bit, you're going to be able to just plop them right on down to a card base and be done. In fact, let's see, do I have one of the card bases here? Yep. So, oh, we taped it together. Oh, probably because we were displaying it. So 6x6 card base, ready to go. All we had to do is plop down our embossing right on the top of it. So let me show you how these work and why I like them so much. I'm using the Vintage Collection from Coordinations. This is a very special paper. It is a sandable paper. So that means that when you tear it out and you tear it, there's a different color that once you emboss it and you sand it, that color is going to come up. But this is the Vintage Collection, and it's called, well, it's called Vintage Collection, but they also had another name for it, something about mod. I don't know, I love it. But the colors on the top are very warm, and they have that rustic feel to them, and the colors are just magnificent. And when you sand it, it's just sheer happiness. I love this collection of paper specifically for this collection of embossing folders because they marry so well together. I'm gonna pull a piece out and put it aside. I've got my Merry Christmas embossing folder, and with the Merry Christmas facing me so I can read it, I'm going to put my paper in with the texture side also facing me. So I've got this textured side and a more smooth side. I want that textured side facing me. So the Merry Christmas I can read and the texture I can see. Then I'm gonna pull over my Sizzix Big Shot machine because it is the machine of choice here at Scrapbooking Made Simple. I have got my Do Not Cut plate, and my multi-purpose platform, my extended multi-purpose platform. Now, if you have the smaller version of the multi-purpose platform, lucky you. I would love to have more of them, but it's the exact same sandwich whether you have the big one or the small one. I'm going to open it up to tab 1. That means my very top comes off, my very top tab gets folded away, and I'm going to work on tab 1. And on tab 1, it shows you embossing folders. So any translucent embossing folder, whether it be a Sizzix embossing folder, a Crafter's Companion embossing folder, a Darice embossing folder, a Cuttlebug, it makes no difference. If it's a translucent, and see how this one's translucent, this is the platform you're going to want to work on. I'm gonna put my Do Not Cut plate down. I even said, please do not cut. And my other clear plate, because we always sandwich everything when we're using our Sizzix Big Shot machine. And I am going to run it on through. Now getting it over that first little hurdle is a little bit of a but then once it's over, it's over. Okay, so I'm gonna move it to the side and pull it out. Now you can kind of see the Merry Christmas, but not really. And that's where this special paper makes the difference in your crafting. Using the right tool to get what it is you want out of your project. Oh, special effects. There's my Halloween for you. The light flickered. I don't know if you can see that or not. I think you can, but now I've got my Sand It gadget. And this Sand It gadget, look at how worn mine is. This is also a product by Coordinations, who makes the special paper. And this special paper comes in lots of different packs, and I'll show them to you in a bit. But it's a Coordinations paper pack, and this is a Coordinations Sand It gadget. And it's a nice sanding block. It's relatively inexpensive, $3.50. You can take the sandpaper on and off with Velcro. It comes with, I think, maybe 2 for here and 2 for here. This is if you're doing something smaller. The refills, you get 8 for only $1.20. It's really well worth it because they figured out what grit the sandpaper needs to be to work best with their paper. It's not too heavy, it's not too light, it's not gonna sand all the way through and give you a hole the first time you use it. So for the price, I say go ahead and buy it. That's my feeling. And it's a nice size, I like it. So I'm gonna take this and I am going to just go right over my Merry Christmas and my little dots and my little, and what it's doing is it's taking that top layer of paper off and exposing that second layer where that color is. So you get that definition and you get that dimension from it. There, done. Really very simple. Kind of give it a brush off. Now I have a lot of red paper here from my sanding. I'm gonna take my glitter cleanup cloth. Yes, you can use your glitter cleanup cloth. Here's my glitter cleanup cloth. It's for $5. It's a huge piece. I cut it into little bits of pieces, and when this doesn't pick up anymore, then I throw it away and cut myself another piece. But if you're just using this for glitter, you're not getting all the use out of it. Look at that, instant presto. You could use a Swifter if you wanted, absolutely. What else can you use? Cheesecloth, maybe. This one's tacky. So it just picked it right up and got rid of the mess, and it's still good. You can still use it and use it and use it until it stops picking up, and then you just cut yourself another piece. Embossing powder, glitter, sanding, anything like that, it's wonderful for. So there. Isn't that fabulous? It took a blah, boring piece of paper and made it literally a Christmas card. All you would have to do is go in there, add a few little dots of maybe stickles or some little gems just around the Merry Christmas, mount it onto your card base, and you're done. You've made your Christmas cards. They're that easy and that simple. I do want to show you what not to do, okay? So I'm going to grab another piece of my paper. Oh, let's do a green Merry Christmas. And I'm gonna put it in and center it on up. And I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna bring my machine back on over, working with the Big Shot machine, and I am on tab 1 of my multi-purpose platform. I'm putting my do not cut plate down, my embossing folder, and my second plate. Now, if you have your embossing folder slightly askew, coming out, if you're not watching and being careful and you've put it in there and it's just slightly out, it will ruin your embossing folder because it's going to try and kink it through and force it through. You need to be sure. See how my plates are not lined up? See how that's not lined up well? You need to be sure that when you're using something that's a 6-inch wide die or embossing folder, the machine is just a hair over 6 inches wide. You don't have a lot of wiggle room because you're right there. But you don't need wiggle room if you just make sure your sandwich is all nice. Tap it, make sure it's all nice, nothing sticking out on either side. Put it in. Get it all in. Make sure everything's nice and pretty and lined up and straight, and send it through. If you do that each and every time, you're gonna have no problems. You're gonna get beautiful, beautiful, beautiful embossings from any company that makes a 6-inch embossing folder. It isn't just about this company, it's about any company. You've got to be sure that you line it up properly. So there it is. Let's do a really quick sand. Let me move this right over there. Do a really quick sand. Oh, it's so pretty! You know, I could probably make 24 of these in like 30 minutes. It would be easy peasy. Gosh, I almost backed myself into making Christmas cards this year saying that. Oh my gosh. It's the paper. It's the paper with the right folder. This vintage paper with the vintage style embossing folders is pure magic. Then I'm gonna take my glitter cloth and I'm just gonna grab all that green. Ta-da! Put that over there. Now I wanna show you why I said what I said. Are you ready? Bom, bom, bom. It wasn't lined up properly. Just a little bit of the edge was sticking outside the plates, the clear plates. It was just a little bit off. Just a hair bit, and it grabbed it just enough to grab it and pull it and bend it. That's not what you want. So all you gotta do is just tap them together, just like you were straightening out paper. And it's going to be fine each and every time. But if you get in a rush, don't get in a rush. This is crafting. This is supposed to be your creative time to decompress and enjoy your friends or a quiet moment to yourself. So just tap. If you tap just like this, because the folder's 6 inches, it's just gonna center itself perfectly and then send it through your machine. Because nobody wants Wah, wah, wah. Okay, that's not a happy day. Now also with these folders, they have a hole in the center. Well, my gosh, what's that for? Easy. That's so you can send paper through to make a border or a strip. Now on the Merry Christmas one, it's not such gonna, work out because you just end up with a piece like this wide with half of the Merry Christmas, and that doesn't make much sense. But if you have one like this, which is an all over poinsettia pattern, well then you have a little bit of sheer happiness. Let me grab some paper. And I think this time I'm gonna use the paper by Crafter's Companion. This is their new shimmer paper. It's 6x6 in size. It now comes in like 10 colors. We only had it in I think 6, and they just released, and we're the first ones that are gonna have it. They just released their new spring colors, and they're beautiful. Can you see the shimmer on it? It's just lovely. It's so heavy. It's just magnificent. It's so rich. But I'm going to cut a strip. I probably should have had a trimmer, but that's okay. Oh, special effects. Now let's say I just wanted half of this to be embossed. I can slide this up through and then do my embossing so that this won't be embossed at all, just this piece. So could you imagine if you had a 12-inch border strip, you could do your first 6 inches and then pull that up, and the second 6 inches would be in there, and you'd be able to make a border for your scrapbook layouts. That's awesome. That's a little bit of, well, I don't want to say a little bit of happiness. I'm getting too into that word. I got to move on. But it's pretty darn cool. Now, not every embossing folder company has this, so you need to look and see. If it's all the way across the top and there's no opening, then you have an option. You can either take a straight edge blade and cut yourself an opening. I promise it will not hurt your embossing folder. I really do, I promise. If you go ahead and take a straight edge or an X-Acto blade and you just cut right across the top to make yourself an opening, your embossing folder will be fine, really. And then you have another use. You can pull your paper through. So I'm gonna emboss this because I want you to see just how magnificent this paper is that they have come up with. Again, my do not cut plate is down. My embossing folder is centered nicely on my do not cut plate. I've got my Sizzix Big Shot machine, my cut plate, and I'm gonna send it on through, and I am on tab 1 of my multi-purpose platform. And away I go. Now with the embossing folders, all you need is one pass. You don't need more than one pass. It's not like an intricate die where you've got to go back and forth and back and forth. Let's move this out of the way. And when we did this for the make and take, I have to tell you, people got to this point and they're like, oh yeah. And then they opened it and it was, oh, it was like the skies open and the sun was shining down because it was simply gorgeous. It was absolutely magnificent. Can you see that? It really is so luxe and so rich. And it's the paper. The embossing folder's stunning, don't get me wrong, but the paper is ooh la la. I can't get over how deep it is and how thick it is and just how regal it feels. The texture of it is magnificent. You're going to be very happy with this, that I promise you. Beautiful, isn't it? Look at, here's the Merry Christmas on the white. Can you, gosh, I don't know if you can see. Can you see the definition on that Merry Christmas? It's just magnificent. And then when you put the two together, oh, they're stunners. They are absolute stunners. So this, when you see a little hole in the top of your embossing folder, that is what it is for, to be able to pull paper through, or a tag, so that if you've got something longer than the embossing folder, you can slide it up so you can emboss the entire thing. And for scrapbookers, this was a really great invention because a lot of scrapbookers really weren't into the embossing folders, even though you can use them to mat all your pictures. They thought it was more of a card maker's tool until the manufacturers started to put that slit in so you could slide your paper up and use it for your borders on your layouts and things of that nature. Really pretty. So we've done them now on the vintage paper from Coordinations to give you that beautiful look, and honest to goodness, a little bit of Stickles. And if you're not familiar with Stickles, it's the most inexpensive glitter glue. It's like $2.19. It comes in 45 different colors. The crystal or the diamond, which is like a transparent, you would just stick it right on some of those stars, plop that down onto a card base, and say, Merry Christmas. We've used that with the vintage. And then we did a beautiful embossing with the Crafter's Companion new shimmer paper in 6x6. So I wanted to show that to you. And now I want to show you some samples of what we've done. So here are some samples. There's the Stickles. Can you see that glittering? There's Stickles. We took little Stickles and dotted it. So there's one of the cards we made. This is one embossing folder that we did in 3 different colors, and then just cut the pieces out and layered it. And then I think this is Elizabeth Craft's Merry Christmas. Here we've done the embossing folder here and coordinated it with paper. And this is paper from Chickanitty. Cute, huh? Look at this one. We took 2 embossing folders. We took the one that has the little baubles on the back, the Christmas ornaments, and we took the one that has the elk, and we fussy cut out the elk and then laid it on top of the white with the baubles. Isn't that gorgeous? Here's another one with the baubles. Really easy. Here's one that's just Merry Christmas. All done on the shimmer paper. This is all done on the shimmer paper. So we tried to put together some really quick and simple and easy Christmas cards so that you know in a time span of an hour or so you've made yourself a whole slew of them to send out. Here is the make and take that we did. This is the make and take that everybody did. And it has the Merry Christmas embossed here with the poinsettia up above. And then we just use some seam binding to marry them together. Another with the bauble. Now, do you notice that this is the negative of, oh, where did it go? Was it the first one? Yep. So here's the positive out of that paper. There's the negative. So we used both. We used the positive words on this card, and we used the negative for the bottom of that card. Isn't Yvette clever? Here's another one with the elk. So pretty. And then a package. And this one has actually little roses on it. So pretty. And this one's just darling. How cute. And all of those little sparklies, that's that Stickles I was telling you about. And the shimmer paper. Oh, and then another one that we did for our make and take. So that's the embossing folders. And I will tell you that the Christmas ones are limited. So they only have so many of them, and when they're sold out, they're not bringing any more in. I talked to Randy yesterday at Crafter's Companion, and he has assured me that our order is fine and that we, what we have ready to come in, they've got plenty to ship us. But they're just very pretty. This is the one with the elk. I'm trying to get it without a glare so you can see it, but it's got the elk. And here's the poinsettia that we did. And Christmas bells. I want to say there's 9 or 10 of them. Oh, here's the one of that card where we did the bottom, then we cut out the bow, then we did the top. So we had the bottom in white, the bow in red, and the top in green. So we just ran it through 3 times, one in white, one in green, one in red, and then we cut all the bits and pieces apart, and we were able to make 3 different cards using all 3 sheets. Very easy to do. $6.95, and yes, they'll be on a YouTube Yummy sale, and there's a host more than this, but I don't have them up here. They will all be online. Then I want to move on to something that's a little more difficult, that's going to take a little more paying attention. Crafter's Companion also has cards. They're called Create a Card, and they're a 6x6 again. So we're going to be using the 6x6 shimmer paper, and we might use some of the 6x6 vintage from Coordinations. But the idea is that it is everything that you need for the top of your card. You really don't need to add too much more to it because there's so much there to begin with. It really is absolutely gorgeous. And for our make and take, this was the card that everybody made. That's just one die cut. That's it, one die cut. Put on a piece of colored cardstock to back it, and that was it. Then we colored in here, but one cut. Very easy. I want to show you the dies. They're a metal die, and the reason why I'm taking the time to show you this, and it's really important, is that a lot of the dies coming out want you to cut here and here. I don't want you to ever cut these. The Elizabeth Craft dies you need to snip apart. Several of the other companies you need to snip apart. Please don't snip these apart. They're not meant to be snipped, so just keep it all one piece. So I want to save you from doing something that you may think is right when in reality it's not going to be what you want. You're going to be unhappy if you do that. I got little bits and pieces in here. I'm just going to pop those out. There we go. Oh, I got them up there too. Okay, so this is what the die looks like, and on the other side you can see little bits and pieces are in there from my last cut. It's okay if you leave little bits and pieces in there. It will still cut. There will come a point where you need to get them all out, but you can cut 3, 4, 5 of them without any problem whatsoever. And what I really also want to tell you is, how do you know when a die cuts or when a die embosses? How can you tell what is part of the embossing feature versus what is part of the cutting feature? So if you need to get a pencil, this is a good time to pause me. I would, wait. Here's my pause face. Pause me now. Go get a pencil so you have this information. All right, I'm holding the die, and with a wafer die such as this, when it cuts, it has these little, they're not blades, these little raised pieces. And that's part of the chemically etched process. And really, that raised piece is what's going to cut your paper. It's not a blade. So these are children safe. They can't get hurt with these. So if you see that raised feature, you know that that's going to cut that little shape out. However, do you see on the flower here? There is no raised feature. It's completely flat. This one here is raised and has a border around each of those petals because it's going to cut those petals, but this is completely flat. That means the only thing it's going to do is emboss. It's not going to cut this flower. The stem right here has no raised feature around it. It's only going to emboss. All of these little X's all have the raised cutting feature. This flower here has the raised cutting feature. They're going to cut. The stem here has no raised feature around the outside of it. It's only going to emboss. So when we did this and people were doing it at the make and take, they would look at it, turn it around and see that this entire flower did not cut. And they would go, oh no, it didn't cut. And I said, no, wait, let's do the next step and then you'll see. So when you're looking at your dies, and this is true for Sizzix and for Spellbinders and for Crafter's Companion and any die that has an embossing feature to it, if there's nothing around, no cutting edge like all the other ones that you can feel, if it's just flat, that means that's your embossing feature. Okay, now for those of you who I have totally lost, I'm gonna cut it and emboss it so you see what I mean. Are you ready? And again, this is where you want to have paper and pencil because this is a two-step process. It's an easy 2 steps, but it's an important 2 steps. I'm gonna move my Big Shot machine back over, and this time I'm going to keep my multi-purpose platform completely closed. I'm gonna put my do not cut plate down, and I am going to grab a piece of paper. So I'm gonna take a piece of white shimmer paper. I'm going to lay it right on top of my die. Make sure everything is all centered. I'm gonna put my cut plate right on. Now I'm not using a magnetic platform, I'm using my regular old multi-purpose platform that comes with your machine. And then I'm going to send it on through. Now this die is more intricate than most. So if you hear little creaks and cracks, that's okay. Then I'm gonna pull it back. I'm gonna do it front and back. And then just because I know my machine, and every machine is going to be different, I'm going to take my die and I'm going to rotate it 1 twist. And then I'm gonna roll it through again. What that does, see, it started here. So if my pressure on my machine is really good on the edges, but maybe not as good on the top and the bottom, by rotating it that 1 twist, now I'm gonna get that really good pressure on the sides where maybe it didn't cut all the way through. Or if my machine's roller is really good on the top and the bottom, but not so good on the sides, by rotating it just 1 click, 1 twist, then you're going to have that pressure all the way. It's gonna, every little bit and piece is gonna get that good pressure. So I'm gonna send it through again and just run it forward. Little creaks and cracks are okay. Roll it back. And then I'm gonna show it to you. This is where I'm at. I can see all my little cuts. I can see where that everything is cut out beautifully, but remember that flower right here? It's not there. So when people lifted it up, the first thing they thought was, oh no, it didn't cut through, but it's not supposed to. This is an embossing feature. So when you look at it and you see that something's missing, emboss it and you'll be pleasantly surprised. Now to emboss, this is where you have to take your multi-purpose platform and you have to open it up now to tab 1. So I have left my paper in my die. I have opened to tab 1. I've got my die still in the same position it was before, only this time I'm going to add my squishy, which is my silicone impression pad, my silicone pad from Sizzix, my squishy, and my knock knock. That's my textured impression pad. I want to say the numbers are 655120 and 655121. I'm not sure which one is the 120 and the 121, but I'm pretty positive that those are the Sizzix SKU numbers for these items. Now people say, well, I have a tan pad, or I have a different colored. If it's not a Sizzix product, these pads, they're relatively inexpensive. They do not come with your machines. They're $7 for each of them. When you buy them, you'll never need them again. But really, they're meant to go with them with this machine. You wouldn't necessarily put a Cadillac motor in a Volkswagen Bug, would you? They won't match. You want to use the tools that are made for the machine by the company who makes the machine. And because they're not that expensive, I really do recommend you have the squishy and the knock knock. And yes, we sell them and they'll be on a YouTube Yummy. Now I'm gonna go ahead and send this on through, and I need you to watch, because what's gonna happen is this squishy on the bottom is going to start squishing on out. Do you see it squishing on out? You see it grow? Can you see this grow? It started back there and you couldn't even see it. Now look at it grow. that means you're doing it right. If you don't see it grow, something's wrong. All right. So I'm going to move this out of the way for just a second. And where it was flat before, it isn't flat anymore. There's an embossing on there. Gosh, I wish I could tell if you could see. There's an embossing here. So now, because it's still in there, I can take my tool-in-one. Oh, now I can see so much better. See, look at that. Now I can see so much better. I can take my tool-in-one and I can go in there and I can start popping all the little pieces out. I am not going to sit here and do this for you. I'm sure you have better things to do, but you can see all my little bits and pieces coming out. Now, because this is an embossing tool, I could at this point go in and grab some ink and use my sponge. You can use the chalk inks that you just got from Prima. You can use your Mementos. You can use your Tim Holtz Distress. It's whatever's going to make you happy. And you could go in there and kind of blot. You got to be careful because this one's so intricate that I don't want that green everywhere. And because there's so many holes in it, it's going to put that green kind of everywhere that it hits. So you really have to be careful how you use it because there's just so many different little holes. So let's pop those out. I'm going to pull this out. You're going to see even more is going to pop. And there would be my base, assuming I had taken the time to get all my little bits and pieces out with my tool-in-one. There's my base. Here's my center. Now I could do the same thing. I could go in here and color this whole thing with one of my inks, but because I want to be careful with where I'm putting my color, I'm going to pull it out, pop out the few little pieces, and this time I'm not going to color it with one of my Mementos or my Dewdrops. I'm actually just going to take one of my Wink Stella and Wink Lunas and go in there and color it. Can you see this one got, got a little bit on my frame, which is okay if you don't mind it, but it colored the whole thing in while it was still in the die. While it was still in the die, it colored the whole thing in. And I could go in there and I could add color over here. It's really up to you where you want to add it. You could use, instead of a makeup sponge, you could use a Q-tip so that you have a little more control over it. But if you do it while it's in the die, you're sure to get a perfect stencil every time. Because the metal piece acts as a mask, so you can't accidentally go out of the lines. But for the centerpiece, I'm just gonna grab my Wink of Lunas, and these are a metallic pin by Zig Kuretake, and it is a true metallic pin, which means it's opaque. If it covers, when it covers, it is totally opaque. And the nice thing about them is that if you start with one color of the Wink of Lunas and you don't like it, you can come back over with another color and it will cover it up absolutely completely. What's also, Halloween again, what's also nice about it is the tip is super fine. It's beautiful. The brush tip is just gorgeous, and this is a gravity feed pin. So once you get them and you open them up and you puncture it, all the ink is in the inkwell. When you get them, you open it up and it shows you how to puncture it down so that none of this ink is drying out while it's sitting on a shelf in some store. It doesn't start to be used until you own it, because when you get it, this will be completely white. There'll be no ink on it at all. Then all you have to do is let gravity do its thing. It's got two little words that say push. You're gonna push a couple times, not too many times. You're gonna let the ink come down. You don't need to fill up the inkwell with all of the ink. You're just gonna let it gravity feed down. And then you can go in and you can color. And it truly is, because of that tip, being a brush tip, it's easy to get in there and color and be happy with what you've done. So I've got a little bit of my Wink of Luna, I've started here. And then if I want to, I can take my Wink of Stella, which is a glitter pin. It's a true glitter pin. It's the sister to the Wink of Luna, and I can go back over the top of my my opaque Wink of Luna and add just a little bit of glitter to the green. They're very pretty. They really are. If I wanted to just use the glitter pin, I can. It's a much lighter green. It's not opaque. It's not opaque. Apparently I don't say that quite right, but I'm trying. Opaque. It's not as opaque as the Wink of Luna, but it's very, very pretty, and it adds a glimmery, shimmery little bit of happiness. And I just went in and colored. You can use anything you have. If you've got colored pencils, if you've got watercolor pencils, you use what you've got unless you love, love, love these, which I love, love, love these, but use what you have and play. Again, it's only paper, and even if you do it just on white paper or colored paper, the Wink of Luna will go right on top of, let's see what color I have, well, let's put the green. The Wink of Luna will go right on top of a colored paper without any problem. You can color that green right on top of the red, and it's fine. The red does not show through. They're really beautiful, beautiful markers. So I could go in, this is a Wink of Stella, just glitter. It's a little bit of pink. I could go in and just add a little bit of pink glitter onto my flower, just to bring that embossing up a little bit more. Easy to do, but you need to know what part of the die is your embossing feature and what part of the die is your die cut. All right, I'm gonna cut this one more time, only this time I'm going to cut it in the vintage paper. Let's pull out a sheet. Let's do a purple. How about a purple? I'm gonna bring my machine right on over with my multi-purpose platform. I'm gonna have my multi-purpose platform completely closed. My do not cut plate down first. And people ask, why do you have a do not cut plate? That's because it slides through my machine so nice and easy. After a while, your top plate's gonna get warped. It's gonna get warped, and you're gonna go back and forth to try to keep it from not getting warped. And eventually it's gonna crack and you're gonna need to replace it. Mine is a long way from there. We use these until there's just nothing left of them. But it's always nice to have a nice, clean, smooth surface on the bottom so everything runs through so easy. Now I've got my die face up because I need it to be face up so it doesn't cut into my do not cut plate. And I've got my purple texture. That's going to go against the die because that's what I want to see on my card. So if you were using a patterned paper, you would place the pattern against the die. Put on my second clear plate, make sure everything is lined up, and send it on through. And I'm gonna go backward and forward. Just because I know my machine and your machine, you might not need to do this. And then I'm gonna turn it and send it back and forth one more time just to be sure that every place got a really good, strong press from the machine being rolled through. And you can hear the little cuts and the little creaks. It's okay, that's okay. Now I'm gonna pull it out and I'm gonna lift off my top plate. I'm going to open up to tab 1, put my die back down on tab 1, add my squishy, add my knock-knock plate, 655 120 and 655 121. It's the textured impression plate and the silicone pad. They're $7. Does not come with your machine, and I'm gonna send it through. And again, you're gonna see that silicone grow. This piece right here, look at where it is now. It's not even to the end. And when I'm done, look at where it is. Look at how long it's growing. That means you're doing it right. We get people who call all the time, oh my gosh, I stopped right in the middle because that squishy was growing. That's perfect, keep going. You're doing it exactly right. And then I can pull. Now normally I would take my tool-in-one and go in and grab, but you guys get the gist. And then I can push this out. Now it doesn't look like much here, but let's get our sand it gadget. And let's give it a sanding. And the sand it gadget's gonna hit that embossing and it's gonna bring it up. It's gonna raise it so you can now see it. And it's the special paper that makes the difference. If you are using a solid core paper when you tear it, if it's the same color you see on the inside that you see on the outside, you're gonna sand forever and it's never gonna change. It's got to be a paper that either is white core or is a color core, which is coordinations. I got a little bit of a purple mess going on here, so I'm gonna take my little glitter, clean all that up, and look at that. Started like this, ended like this. So there's a vine right there, there's a stem right there, there's a stem right here. So if you don't want to color, you don't have to color at all. Just use the right paper. From blah to ooh la la. Oh, that sounded so cheesy. It's beautiful and it's so easy to do. So we've shown you what you can do with the shimmer paper, which is absolutely gorgeous, and what you can do with the vintage coordinations paper, which really just lends itself to this line of dies. Really pretty. Ooh, I've got a lot of purple going on. Let's just, oh, and a lot of bits and pieces. Suppose if you're making confetti, this is also a really good die. You save all your little bits and pieces. So we talked about what's the embossing feature on a die and how to find it, and how to use the embossing feature that you have. It's a two-step process. First, you have to cut the die, and most of the dies that have an embossing feature are a wafer die, so you're going to cut them on tab 2. You're going to keep your multi-purpose platform completely closed, your do not cut plate, your die, your paper, and then your second clear plate, and you would send it through your machine. Then you're going to pick up that top clear plate. You're going to open to tab number 1. And instead of the other clear plate, you're going to use your squishy and your knock knock. And the reason we give names to them is because they're exactly the same color and they're almost exactly the same size, and it's really hard for me on camera to differentiate between the two of them, so I nicknamed them for you, and now the names have just kind of stuck. There's also a thud pad, which is a crease pad, and it's also black and it's also around this size, and we call it a thud pad, or a thud, and you need that when you have a scoring line on one of your dies. But like this, you're gonna send it through and you are going to see this silicone piece grow and grow and grow, and when you're done, that embossing feature will be there for you. I love these dies. These dies are beautiful and they're simple. They're easy to use, and it doesn't take a lot of embellishing on top of what you've done to make a stunning card. You don't have to add flowers and bling and all sorts of little accoutrements to it to make a stunner. The die is the stunner, and sometimes you just want to let the die do its thing and don't overwork it. As Tim Gunn says, to edit. So we've talked about that, and I want to show you some samples that we have with these dies because I think you're really going to like them. Now I do want to say that there is one of these dies that is extremely limited. Again, I talked to Randy, and I have our quantity of 200 of them. So I'm gonna actually start with the Christmas dies, I think, because those are the ones that are more limited. Once Crafter's Companion is done, I believe they're done manufacturing for the year. They're not going to be manufacturing these dies anymore. So we're putting them on a YouTube Yummy now so that you will have them in time to do Christmas cards with them. Just know, and if your Christmas cards are already done for the year, you don't want to pass these up if you want them in your collection because you won't find them next year. I'm just gonna find the one die that is very limited. Oh, here we go. And then I'll show you samples. This is Oh Holy Night. We have 200 of them. That's all we're ever going to have is 200 of them, and when the 200 have shipped and have been purchased, they're done. They're not bringing any more in. So we're excited to have the 200, and we have to give a big thank you to Crafter's Companion to making sure that Scrapbooking Made Simple had these for you guys out there. They're beautiful. All right, let me bring over the samples. Okay, so there's one of the samples using the everyday. This isn't one of the Christmas ones, it's more of one of the everyday. Now the everyday dies are going to be available all year round, so that's not a problem. Here's one of the Christmas. Just so easy. We just colored the bells with Gold Winka Luna. Done. Look at the Santa. So this is the red shimmer on top of white shimmer, and then we just added a little bit of Flower Soft Polar White. Done. That's a great card. This is one of the everyday dies, and instead of using the middle, like I was showing you, we put in the middle of a piece of paper. Isn't that beautiful? Few little pearls. Done. It's gorgeous. All done on the shimmer. Here, we took the square that normally would cut out and we just moved it a tick to give the diamond, but that square fits right in there, and we could have popped that up if we wanted to, or we could have taken the square out and put a picture in there. This would be a great mat for your scrapbooking layouts. Just beautiful. Look at this one. This one's using the vintage paper. Isn't that pretty? Can you see the embossing and how it's just pulled up? And ever so simple. And then here's Oh Holy Night, where this time we actually took a Versamark marker and we colored with a Versamark marker over the top and in the circle, and then we threw down detailed gold embossing powder and heated it, so that the only place that got the embossing powder is where we used the Versamark marker. Is that not beautiful? I can see why this is their bestseller and why they're going to be sold out like that again. Look at this one for Valentine's. So here, this heart here is what popped out of here, and we just moved it off center and backed it with a piece of Valentine's Day paper. Really nice, easy to use, user-friendly, and have a lot of functionality. So again, these were the ones that we did, that everybody did for the make and take here at the store. Okay, so let me show you product. So here's the Oh Holy Night. That is very limited. Then we have Christmas, several of the Christmas ones. This is Over the Rooftop. This one is Christmas Present. And the centers all pop out. This one's Falling Snowflake. This one's Ring Out Those Bells, where we did the bells with the Winka Luna. Here we have Christmas Wreath, Christmas Village, Oh Christmas Tree. There may be more of them. We had a whole bunch of them. And then some of the everydays are Extravagance, Nope, that's another one, but close. Extravagance. And then the heart that I showed you is right here. And this one is Romance. Here's the black one. This one's Aurora. And that's the card we made. We have the Decadence. And that would be the square card that we did with Decadence. And then we have Enchant, which is very similar to the one we used today, which was Precious. So those are the Create a Card dies. And don't forget, we also have the vintage embossing folders. Plus we have the shimmer papers. And right now, I think we have the white, well, we have all the colors. I'm just looking for the sample to show the white, red, silver, green, black, and then there's five new colors which will be listed. These will all be on a YouTube Yummy, along with the coordination 6x6 paper. And with that, we have several different colors as well. We have the brights and the neutrals, and we have the darks. So this will all be on sale for you. Holy smokes, that was a lot. I hope you took notes because I really do think that these are just absolutely gorgeous. And without doing hardly any work at all, you're just about there. All right, I'm gonna tilt on up and I'm gonna say, woo, I gotta finish tilting up. Okay, everybody, it's me, Stacy, Scrapbooking Made Simple. Where are you gonna get all of this great product? Easy, www.shop@sms. The word shop, the word at sms.com. It'll all be on a YouTube Yummies for you. This is YouTube number 109. Post your comments so you can be a winner, and I will see you next time. Bye. Happy Halloween.